I'm doing a pre-flight check here, Ford Expedition, 125,000 miles, getting this ready for a summer road trip. Thought this would be a good chance to go a little bit deeper with the XTool for some of those that have asked. So I'm going to show you one of the first steps I ever take with this thing when I'm just doing a general health check. You know, I'm not troubleshooting a specific problem. We go Autoscan. It finds that I'm a Ford, and it's going to go get the VIN for us, which it did. And with the VIN, it's able to pull up the correct version of software there. So this is where we come in. And first thing I'm going to do is just an automatic scan. And this is going to take a bit of a moment, but this is also going to run through the entire vehicle, bumper to bumper. It's basically working its way through all the subsystems on the car. And this scan is going to bring you any codes that have tripped. You know, your CEL light, your check engine light, is only going to illuminate on certain critical codes that matter mostly to emissions. But you can have all sorts of minor codes that may have tripped in your system that you're just not aware of if you're not running this type of scan. So we see that basically all of our systems are normal with no diagnostic codes tripped, except for subsystem number 9, the accessory protocol interface module, APEM, has a failure in it. And I know what this failure is going to be, but we're going to go take a look. We're going to hit Dtc Report. And that's going to bring up a report of any and all triggered codes that the system just found. In this case, it's just the one in the APEM module. It's this exterior memory card. Basically, my vehicle has the onboard Ford Sync system with onboard nav, so forth and so on. And I don't use it. I use my smartphone in my vehicle instead. So I don't have the proper memory card inserted in the system, and XTool was smart enough to go see that and find that. So that's our automatic scan, and it just tested everything as a-okay. And so what I'm going to do now to go a little bit deeper, I've been having a couple of issues with this vehicle that I'm keeping an eye on at its 125,000 miles that are in the power control module, so which means basically engine and transmission, what makes it go. So we're going to go into powertrain control, and we're going to start the vehicle. And starting the vehicle is going to let us come over into live data. And with live data, you know, we can come up here and search. You know, I happen to know that I just put a fresh battery in here. But if I didn't already know that, then pre-trip, you know, looking at battery health would be a good idea. In this case, I knew we'd see some good information there, and we do. One of the things I'm interested in is any engine misfire history. So we're going to come down and look at trips since misfire, and we see vehicles made 15 trips since any misfire. And let's just take a peek. My misfires have normally been, and sure enough, this is, you know, out of gear, 13 seconds after start, you know, no load basically on the engine. That's basically an idle load on the engine, and revs just above idle. So it's not misfiring going down the road, is what I'm seeing there. So I'm good with that. Oh, let's come back into live data for a minute. I didn't mean to exit out that quick. So we looked at our battery, we looked at our misfire issue, and one of the key things I'm having an issue with is my fuel trims have been running a bit rich long term, and I want to go look at that. And yeah, we still have this going on. So it's kind of been staying in this range. You know, the bank 2 has been around 10. Bank 1 has been roughly around 15% rich. And these aren't going to trigger a CEL until you get up in the 25% range. But yeah, I've been just keeping an eye on this, making sure it's getting no better, no worse until I get time to really get into troubleshoot. I've cleaned up, you know, some sensors here and there. Yeah, just haven't gotten to the bottom yet of why this is running a little bit rich. But we'll get there. And in fact, while we're talking about that, it's a good opportunity to show another of the new functions that is in the upgrade. So we're back at the home screen for the Ford, automatic scan, system selection. There's this new tab, service. This is a software upgrade that came through on the XTool. I really like this about the XTool, that they keep everything up to date. I'm not paying any extra for these upgrades to come through for years. And in the powertrain, I can go in and reset the power control module. Oh, I've got engine running and it wants just ignition on, so sorry about that. We'll go hit that. All right, so what I want to do is clear these adaptive values for idle and fuel. And successful procedure right there. So we got those cleared. And I am curious now to see. Let's go back into live data. Start this engine back up. And I'm going to be very interested to see. First of all, let's go look at the quality of our idle. Yeah, quality of our idle's pretty good here. The expected versus the actual, and you know, we've just reset, right? So this expected is going to be relearning itself a little bit for a moment. I think we were in the 625 range before we reset. It'll probably come back there. Yeah, so idle looks good. I want to go over and see what that did with the long-term fuel trims. This is the first time I've reset those values, and it will be interesting yeah, okay, so this brought my long-term fuel trims back to 0, right? Because we took out the adaptive learning. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with those long terms. And let's go see what short term is doing in the meanwhile. Yeah, short term's actually showing a little bit of a lean condition, right? So it's actually adding a little bit of fuel. So yeah, we'll come back to that in a few days, maybe after this trip, kind of see what the adaptive learning is doing again. But hopefully this is just a little bit more for you of XTool and where we can go with it, what we can do with it. Hopefully that's helping somebody out there get their feet wet. This thing's just super handy to me. Again, taking off on a trip like this, 125,000 miles, it just helps me feel very good that I know what's going on. And this is after all the physical checks, brakes, fluids, suspension. Of course, I'm doing all those physical checks as well as taking a peek electronically. So anyway, hope this is helpful to somebody. And if you have any questions, ask them. If there's anything specific that I can show you how I use the XTool to get to, let me know what that is, and I'll try to help you out.